Welcome back. Plans to amend the Bahamas Nationality Act to allow citizenship through Bahamian mothers is not on the back burner of the government's agenda, despite not being addressed in the speech from the throne. Acts where the Bahamas Nationality Act stands on the government's agenda. Acting Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Keishla Adderley, says immigration in its entirety is being looked into.
It's certainly not on the back burner. The issue of immigration is a legacy issue, and it's an issue that's always on the front burner, whether for the government or through public discourse. Even before the speech from the throne, the Davis administration had pointed to the fact that it was taking a closer look at the immigration, at all of the policies, and all of the day-to-day operations of the immigration department, and that is still a priority. Well, I don't want to put a time on it, but a commitment has been made to put in place a commission to specifically look at the issues facing the immigration department. And of course, all of it is with a view to ensuring that the public has confidence in the immigration department and that everything that happens there is done above board.
In May, the Privy Council announced the upholding of the landmark citizenship ruling that children born to foreign mothers and Bahamian fathers outside of wedlock have a right to be Bahamian citizens, much to the ire of many local Bahamians. Prime Minister Philip Davis giving remarks at the Financial Tech Conference event D3 Bahamas, expanding upon the nation's involvement in Fintech as well as what to expect for the future in that sector. He promised the amended and strengthened Digital Assets and Registration Exchanges, or DARE Act 2020, is expected to be tabled and passed in Parliament by the end of this year.
We are a responsive and nimble financial services jurisdiction. And as promised, when DARE was implemented, we remain committed to consistently updating and evolving our regime to meet the latest threats and risks as they emerge. The changes to the DARE Act will include, among other things, measures to clarify the regulation of stablecoins and the introduction of more robust investor and consumer protection mechanisms, including new provisions for a single framework for registration and oversight of digital assets, custodians, and provision of custodial wallet services and requirements for the segregation of assets. We are also introducing a disclosure framework for the staking of clients' digital assets and the operation or management of a staking pool as a business.
At the same event, Securities Commissioner of the Bahamas, Executive Director Christina Roll, said the FTX collapse contributed to the regulatory landscape of global cryptocurrency, a sentiment Prime Minister Davis also shares. He says the Bahamas will continue to pioneer in the digital assets industry in anticipation of future opportunities.
The Securities Commission of the Bahamas is deeply involved in the work of IOSCO, Fintech Task Force, and made significant contributions to its reports on crypto assets and decentralized finance that was released in May and September, respectively. Through the Commission's work with IOSCO and ongoing engagement with other regulators globally, the Bahamas will remain a leader in the regulation of crypto assets. Web3 and Fintech will transform global financial systems in unprecedented ways, and the Bahamian people are positioned to be at the vanguard of this rapidly expanding frontier.
Acknowledging the financial services industry as the country's second largest industry, Prime Minister Davis recognized the potential Fintech has in contributing to the growth and development of the local economy. The United States Embassy Nassau recently hosted a Trafficking in Persons symposium to support the Bahamas' efforts to combat human smuggling. The event highlighted the recommendations in the 2023 Trafficking in Persons report and provided a space for open dialogue and avenues for partnership. Rebecca Morgan, analyst for the Caribbean region with the United States Department Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking in Persons, held sessions with senior government officials and members of civil society. Ms. Morgan commended the Bahamas' efforts to support victims and encouraged continued progress to equitably screen and identify victims and to investigate and prosecute suspected traffickers. Participants discussed best practices for identifying victims in vulnerable communities, data collection, and the increased use of forensic and cyber evidence to build trafficking cases. The Bahamas National Trafficking in Persons Committee and Task Force Chair Indira Bell shared plans to expand training efforts and establish points of contact in the Family Islands as well. This will improve screening and identification of victims, as well as plans to complete a new National Trafficking in Persons strategic plan. As part of the 17th Caribbean Week of Agriculture, JCN got a chance to speak with this year's CARICOM Farmer of the Year, Peter McConnell of Jamaica, and Young Farmer of the Year, DeAndre Rowe, also from Jamaica. Mr. McConnell, the Managing Director of Tradewinds Citrus Limited, spoke about what the success to his company has meant to him and future plans for his agribusiness. While Ms. Rowe of Amby Garden Farms, an agribusiness started by her father, talked about her career path and how she ended up in the agricultural industry.
Still in citrus, I haven't given up on citrus, but we have gone into pineapple production, producing grade A pineapples for the Jamaican market only so far. And we've also gone into dairy production like 3 years ago, and we now have over 600 head milking 200, and we have diversified the farming base. And as I said in my acceptance speech, I'm a passionate agriculturalist and very proud of.
As I said, not many persons they're interested in this field of work, so finding persons to work for you is sometimes a challenge, but we must persevere. I tell my students and persons who visit all the time that this is the first career and it's needed, right? It's needed. I say you might need you might need to go to the doctor maybe 2 times a year. You might need a lawyer never, but you need a farmer every single day.
The two agricultural experts speaking on the future of the agriculture sector in the Caribbean region said educating the youth and embracing new technologies will be key in improving agriculture in the Caribbean.
Pay keen attention to our young people. We have to show them the endless possibilities that exist. And we have to show them that farming is far beyond slavery days, hoe and fork, that these are the technologies that exist. This is how we can do things. You can make this amount of income, and these are the opportunities that exist. You can travel to these countries, and that's what needs to happen to move the agricultural sector forward.
Yeah, I'll endorse those statements. I mean, changing the perception of the farmer. I mean, the subsistence farming is not where it's at. We need to embrace technology like we are all doing, and then also tell our stories like we are doing to portray a positive image and encourage others to come into it. Because, you know, as a proud Jamaican and Caribbean person, I hate to see imported food when I know we can grow it at home. And you know, I think we're on the way. We are examples that it can be done. We just need more to join us.
Sitting with the two winners in the press conference, Jamaica's Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, speaking about what is needed for the sector to grow.
We want to shape a new face of agriculture. You know, oftentimes when agriculture and farmers are portrayed, we do the straw hat with the machete and the water boot. And while all of those tools are critical when you're working out in the field, we also want to formulate a new image of agriculture. I think our Young Farmer of the Year is exactly the new face that we're trying to portray in Jamaica. So we do have a direct strategy called the New Face of Food, where we're trying to highlight more of the people who are in agriculture, who are doing well, the young people who are in agriculture, who are doing well, who have chosen agriculture, who have made those business decisions, and as you would have heard, could have done anything else but decided to go into agriculture. And we want to tell their stories. We want to show that it is profitable. Clearly, it is challenging like any other field, but it can be worth.
That was Jamaica's Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green. And finally, from the WNBA, John Quill Jones and the New York Liberty, have run into a buzzsaw in the best-of-5 championship series as they find themselves facing elimination in Game 3 versus the defending champion Las Vegas Aces when they play on Sunday at 3 p.m. on ABC. Jonquil has played well in the first 2 games, 16 points, 10 rebounds in Game 1, and in Game 2 she had 22 points with 10 rebounds. Again, Sunday is a must-win for JJ and the New York Liberty. Last night in the NBA, as the preseason continues, Eric Gordon Jr. and the Phoenix Suns defeated DeAndre Ayton and the Portland Trail Blazers 122-111. Gordon led Phoenix with 20 points, shooting 8 of 10 from the field in just 18 minutes. DeAndre finished with 7 points, 6 rebounds in 23 minutes of play. Ayton and the Trail Blazers, they will play again on Saturday night versus the Utah Jazz, while Eric Gordon and the Phoenix Suns will wait to play Portland again on Monday. Also on Monday, Buddy Hield and the Indiana Pacers will host the Atlanta Hawks at 7 p.m. Tonight in the NBA, Klay Thompson and the Golden State Warriors, they will host the Los Angeles Lakers, 10 o'clock start. Klay and the Warriors are 1-2 so far in the preseason. That'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jarino Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.